Hey, what's up, YouTube? It's Matt Modi on behalf of OddsJam, and today's video will just be a preview of the Packers 49ers game. Since we are unfortunately coming to the end of the NFL season, instead of doing a recap or a preview of multiple games at once, we only have 4 games this week. I will be doing just 4 separate previews. Like I said, today's will be the Packers versus, the 49ers. We kind of got an interesting game here that I'm actually very excited about because recent memory. So the Packers are the 1 seed here. Obviously, the 49ers kind of came on hot. I believe they started 3-5, something like that. They had a good end to the year. They looked pretty good last week against the Cowboys, who kind of imploded. So the Packers are pretty heavy favorites here. Money line at 230. I believe the spread's at 5.5, something like that. But my memory of the 49ers versus the Packers is just the 49ers absolutely crushing the Packers and running all over them. I believe in Aaron Rodgers' career, he has been eliminated by the 49ers 3 times. And in all 3 of those games, the 49ers have just run rampant all over them. Most recently being the NFC Championship game in 2019. So that was Matt LaFleur's first year. Packers went 13-3 that year, but one of their losses in the regular season, they got absolutely smoked by the 49ers. They played a rematch in the championship game. Guess what happened? They got smoked. Like I said, it's an interesting matchup because the Packers are heavy favorites, but the 49ers seem to have their number. So let's go in, look at OddsJam, see where the value lies. Before I get started, I just want to emphasize how important it is. You see all these sportsbooks here. You see how important. I want to highlight how important it is to sign up for as many of these sportsbooks as you can. Obviously, the more you're signed up for, the more chance you have of finding a positive expected value play. So depending on what state you're located in, if you're not signed up for as many as you can, you're kind of doing yourself a disservice because then you can't really line shop to the best of your ability. Like in this case, BetMGM and WinBet are showing some value on the 49ers money line. If you were just looking at DraftKings, they're plus 190 there. You'd be missing out on 20 points that you can get on these odds. And trust me, that adds up in the long run. So just wanted to highlight that. In the description of the YouTube page, you'll see a link for all the signups. Make sure to find your state. And yeah, you'd be doing yourself a disservice if you aren't signing up. So now that I got that over with, let's look at this game. So it does look like there's some value on the 49ers money line. Packers OddsJam perfect line has them at minus 230. The 49ers is about plus 203. No value on the Packers money line. There is some value on the 49ers money line. I wouldn't hate sprinkling a little bit on there. I do think the 49ers have a legit chance to win this game. I don't have the stones to quite predict that, but at plus 210 odds, those are pretty good. I'm not going to take it, but if you are going to take a money line on this game, I would definitely recommend taking the 49ers. So let's go to the spread and see if there's any value there. So this is kind of interesting. So the spread started off as the Packers were plus 4.5. I would have thought that people would be kind of siding towards the 49ers because of recent history suggests the 49ers, when they play the Packers in the playoffs, they just run all over them. But it looks like there's really not much value anywhere on the spread. Of all the lines that you can get, the OddsJam perfect line as what they have, only 2 plays that are reasonable would be 49ers plus 5.5. So the OddsJam perfect line has that at minus 109. You can get that on, let's see, the sportsbook is FanDuel at minus 105. Or if you want to buy an extra point, get the 49ers at 6.5. The OddsJam perfect line has that at minus 129. And then FanDuel minus 125. To me, this kind of feels like a no-touch. Like I said, I could see the 49ers winning, but I'm not super confident in it. I do think the Packers are the better team. It's hard to bet against Aaron Rodgers unless he's playing in the NFC Championship game where he's, I believe, 1-4 in his career. So I'm not seeing anything here that I'd want to take. Like I said, if people were just asking me my opinion, I would probably say 49ers, Packers win, 49ers cover, but I'm not confident in anything to put some money on it. I don't see enough value here. So sometimes the best bets are the ones you don't make. So let's go to the points here. Looks like the over is kind of settling at 47 and a half. I am seeing some pretty consistent value towards the over. So starting at 45, you get about 15 points. This is on BetMGM. 16 points at 45 and a half, 11 at 46, 8 at 46 and a half, 10 at 47. What's that? 7 on 47 and a half. And then 6 points at 48. And then keeps going until finally you get to 49 and a half, where the odds are so terrible. So looks like the biggest positive expected value is on this over 45 and a half on BetMGM. And I really like that play. So that is going to be my $100 mix slam so far. So I haven't bet anything yet. I'm going to go ahead and lock that in. Mix slam for me is just a bet that I'm really confident in. They won't all be mix slams. Sometimes I'll have multiple for the same game. I'll have to look at the plus EV page. I'll have to look at some props to see, but the over 45 and a half at minus 120 odds, I think is a really good bet. So let's see. I want to get it at 45 and a half over at minus 120. Perfect. $100 mix slam, place bet. Let's hope my location works. And yes, in my logic, so perfect. So that worked. So my logic there is, it's hard to bet against Aaron Rodgers, right? I think that he's gonna have a good game. And if you look at, I looked this up before I started recording. If you look at the Packers versus 49ers history. This website called Football Database just has a bunch of, as it sounds, databases. So the last 2 times these two teams have played, and they played earlier this year in a game that was kind of interesting. The Packers only won by 2. As you can see, 58 points. Another game they played, looks like they put up, 34 plus 17, so 54 points. The NFC Championship game where the Packers got smoked went over. The regular season game where the Packers got smoked barely went over, or at exactly 45, so just under, actually. But recent history suggests that these two teams put up points. And if you just look at the Packers' schedule, so they played earlier this year, like I said. The score was 30-28. And this is an interesting game. So looking at the stats, pretty good game from Rodgers, pretty good game from Aaron Jones, great game for Devontae Adams. But the interesting part is on the 49ers side. So Jimmy G threw the ball 40 times. But if you look at the players that ran the ball, so Elijah Mitchell had been hurt. Jermichael Hasty was hurt. Jeff Wilson was hurt. They really didn't trust Trey Sermon at all. I mean, they gave him 10 carries, but the history and the actions that the 49ers have shown is that they don't trust Trey Sermon. And they only gave Deebo Samuel 4 carries. So obviously he had a decent game through the air. George Kittle had a huge game. But I would guess that this is a game that the 49ers are really, really going to try to establish the run. And I think they're going to be successful doing so. So I think they are going to put up points. And the 49ers they're good up front, but they're weak in the secondary. So I think Rodgers will be able to take advantage of them. The Packers should also be getting healthier. I believe their 3 studs, left tackle Bakhtiari, cornerback Jair Wilson, and defensive end Za'Darius Smith are all questionable. I believe Za'Darius Smith is still on IR, that he could possibly be activated by tomorrow. I'm going to go ahead and guess that all 3 play. It's the playoffs. Packers are the 1 seed. They have gone to the championship game 2 straight years and lost both times. I don't think they're going to take any chances. I believe that they're both going to play, or all 3 going to play, I should say. So I think that obviously helps the Packers' passing game, getting Bakhtiari back. He's huge. And then for the 49ers, Jair, I don't know, if he does play, is he going to follow Samuel around? They move him. The 49ers move Samuel around so much that it really wouldn't be possible for them to have him shadow, which means that he might get some play on Ayuk, who's had a good run after a terrible start. But regardless, these 2 teams put up a ton of points the first time they played. And I'm not, maybe there won't be 58 points, but I do think that there are going to be points scored here. And the over 46.5, what I got it on, I think is, or 40, what was it? Over 45.5, I think is a great play. So that's going to be my mix slam. Like I said, I put 100 on it. You saw me lock that in on BetMGM. So now, before I look at the positive EV page, there are a couple props that I wanted to look at. The first one being rushing yards for both Deebo and for Aaron Jones. So let's look at Aaron Jones first because he comes first in the alphabet. So it looks like Aaron Jones's rushing prop, there's only lines for 49.5. And it looks like there is some pretty good value on the over 49.5. So the OddsJam perfect line has it at an even 115 on both ends. And Aaron Jones over 49.5 is priced at plus 105 on Caesars. That's going to be a $50 bet for me. Not quite a McSlam, but I do like that bet a lot. So I'm going to go ahead and log into Caesars and place that bet. And while this is loading, I'll look at Deebo. Let me just sign in real quick. So while that's loading, let's look at Deebo. Looks like his total is at about 38.5. OddsJam perfect line has that at minus 116. FanDuel has that at minus 114. Let's look at his stats. 38.5. Seems like a good bet to take, but I want to look at his rushing stats because up to a certain point. So starting in looks like week 10, they really started to use him a lot as a rusher. And looks like he's gone over that total 1, 2, 3, 4 times since then. 10 for 72 against Dallas, 8 for 45 against the Rams. I do like that play a lot. And that was on FanDuel. Let me lock in this Aaron Jones one at 50, and then I'll do some real analysis on the Aaron Jones over 49.5 on the Deebo Samuel one. Because upon first glance, I think that's a great bet. The Packers have always had trouble with the 49ers running game. And that goes back to the Kaepernick days, the Alex Smith days. They just 49ers, or no matter how many different defensive coordinators the Packers have, and the 49ers back in the Harbaugh days just seem to have the Packers number. So I'm gonna also go ahead and put 50 on that. Deebo Samuel over 38.5. There's a little bit of positive value. I would expect that to trend this number to go up. So that's going to be another $50 play for me. Deebo Samuel over receiving yards, so that will, over his rushing prop. So that will be my third play without even looking at the positive EV page. So I'm taking over 45.5, then the over rushing totals for Aaron Jones and Deebo Samuel. And I also wanted to look at passing attempts for Jimmy G. So I hit that player prop that's completions, excuse me. I hit that player prop last week, Jimmy G. I got it under 31.5. Looks like the value here is actually on the over. It's on the over for Jimmy G, under for, actually it's on both for Aaron Rodgers. So this will end up being a no touch for me. If there was value towards Jimmy G under, I would have taken it, but it looks like the value is towards the over. I personally, if I had to predict, I would guess it would go under. So that's going to end up being a no touch for me. So let's look at completions and see. A little bit of value on the under, not a ton. So I'm going to end up no touching that as well. So just 3 plays for me so far. And now let's look at the positive EV page. Let me refresh it. I have it filtered for Packers. So I haven't looked at this yet. I haven't locked in anything. Let's go through it and see if there's anything worth it. Josiah DeGuara over 2.5 receptions. I wonder how many people even know who that is. He's a Packers DeGuara stats. Let's see how much he's gone over this. So it's over 2.5. Looks like he did hit this against the Lions. He hasn't had yet. This one's going to end up being a no touch for me. It's not within market width, and it doesn't. I mean, he's had the most receptions he's ever had in a game is 3. He's had 25 all year, so you don't have a lot of upside here. So that's going to end up being a no touch. Let's look at the next one. Aaron Rodgers interceptions. It's a no touch. Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk receiving yards. I do like. Let's look at his stats because he had a really rough start to the year. He's on my fantasy team, so trust me, I remember. But he's really come on strong recently. So the over-under is set at 52.5. Looks like it's telling me to put 50 on it, so that would be a mini McSlam. So he had 66 last week. So he has gone over this number the past 3 weeks. Then he missed it 2 weeks in a row. Then he hit it for 4 weeks in a row. So he's trending pretty highly towards this over. While I do think that the 49ers are going to rely heavily on the run game, I do think that this is a good play. So I'm going to add this to my list. And I'm just going to put what the Kelly Criterion calculator told me to put. I should have just stayed logged in Caesars, but I'm going to add that. So I'm going to put 50 on that one. It's another plus money one. So for those of you who've been following me on Twitter, and my handle below, a lot of NBA player props I post are plus money. Same logic applies to football ones. So Brandon Ayuk over 52.5, 50, and that'll be my fourth play, totaling 250. So let's see if there's anything else. Let me just add this one to my bet tracker so I can recap it all at the end. Let's see. Next up, Juwan Jennings. Looks like his is to the under, not within market width. I'm not touching that one. Alan Lazard looks like his is under 3.5 receptions. He's actually come up pretty big for the Packers recently, and it's not within market width, so that one's going to be a no touch. Next one, Deebo Samuel, under 4.5 receptions. You know, I took his over on rushing. It would make sense to take his under. It is within market width. It is plus money. Looks like I should put about 25 on it. But I can't in my right mind fade Deebo Samuel, even though it might be the sharper play. If the 49ers get down big, they're just going to feed him. Even though, like I said, I do think they were going to rely on the run game, I'm not confident enough to fade Deebo in that. Let's look at the next one. Aaron Jones, I actually just took that one. So perfect play there. That was a mini McSlam. The total, another one. This was my biggest play. This was my McSlam, over 45.5. Nice to see it's on the plus EV page. Another Juwan Jennings one. I'm not going to touch that one. Looks like this one is another over. I already took it at 46 or 45.5, so I don't want to keep loading it. Another over, and looks like the 49ers first half money line is telling me to put $6 on it. I don't hate that one. The Packers, like I said, 49ers have had their number, but I'm going to sit this one out, and I'm just going to stick with the 4 plays that I've talked about. So just to recap, my 4 plays are going to be one McSlam, which is the over 45.5. That was minus 120 on BetMGM, and then 3 player props. So I'm taking the over rushing yards for Aaron Jones and for Deebo Samuel, and I'm taking the over receiving yards for Brandon Ayuk. So those are going to be my 4 plays, just to get a prediction out there. Not one that I'm betting, but I do think the Packers win, but I do think that the 49ers cover. So that is what my prediction is going to be, not what I'm going to be betting, because I'm not confident enough in it. But yeah, so that's all I got for you. Like I mentioned at the top of the show, definitely make sure you're signed up for as many sportsbooks as you can to take advantage of all the plus EV betting, all that stuff. I'll definitely love a follow, so hit me up on Twitter at my handle below at Matt_Modi_bets. You can also email me at Matthew@OddsJam.com. And then lastly, comment on the video. Would love to hear your feedback. And then, like, review, rate, subscribe, all that good stuff to keep us growing. And other than that, that's all I got for you. So happy betting, happy watching, and good luck.